In this prototype, we want to solve the game of the crossword, not making use of the clues, because between you and me, I can never make heads or tails of what the clues actually mean in a crossword puzzle. For me, it's just 7 letters. What words do I know that are 7 letters long that start with an F? And so we're going to play that version of the game. Now, we'll start with our word list because, we know what the word list looks like. We don't need to do that too many times in a row. So we'll start with our word list from before. Here is what our word list will look like, and we can think about how this maps out. Again, anytime we're solving a problem, what we're really looking to do is we're really looking to exhaust the uncertainty in order to tighten the variance of the outcome. Especially as we become more senior in our jobs, it's often not that important what the implementation is, so much as can we deliver on a particular timeline with a particular bounded amount of effort and resources. One thing that I find that senior folks oftentimes do get wrong is the technical details do matter, and the technical sophistication is something that should continue to be a part of your work. It's just that you're looking at this from a different perspective. You're looking at the technical sophistication and technical details of the overarching structure. Things like, one thing that you might notice in our attempt at solving something like Scrabble is, if we have a performance problem, the restricted computation domain idea might or might not be available to us in solving it. And so this is something that a senior contributor should be aware of, where it is that we have formulaically or structurally impeded our ability to later add optimizations based off of a very thorough understanding of the underlying framework and the underlying language. In the game of something like the crossword puzzle, you can see one of the things that we can do is we can still, as a senior contributor, break down very simple problems and just kind of make sure that we have a thorough understanding of the core mechanics. So those core mechanics do sometimes influence the rest. And so for Find Crossword, I don't think it's really that different than maybe some of the other things that we've seen. Clearly, we find the pattern that we have, and we have some word list that we're operating against. And the pattern might be, we know there's a P at the beginning, we don't know what the next 2 letters are, and we know it ends with an HON. Can you guess what this word is? If you can, let us know. But we'll see if our game can figure out what word from my game of crossword starts with a P and ends with a HON. Well, here I might be able to figure out what my answers are. And again, here you can think, could be many possibilities. So again, this is probably some sort of generator that gives me all the possibilities, all the candidates. And what you can think is, here I might say find crossword candidates, given my pattern and my acceptable word list. And here we might just look at our answers. And here, let's grab our word list code. Actually, let's just print out our pattern and our answers. And of course, we know that this needs to be some sort of iterable. This needs to yield something. And of course, here we'll start this with a word list of zoo, orange, banana, and apple. I don't think any of those are possibilities, though. Now, let's combine these 2 pieces together and see if we can actually get the rest of this working. So there we go. We actually have a real word list, and we do need one import to make this work. Because here again, I guess this is actually not correct for this, because for the crossword puzzle, it is the case that we could have letters with diacritics in them. So here, I think this should be if this is alphanumeric. Unlike in the game of, say, Scrabble, where the tiles, you can't have an E with an accent aigu on top of it in the game of Scrabble, unless you happen to have that specific tile set. Oh, that's interesting. In the game of Scrabble, maybe you need to construct a word list based off of what the tile set is, because that may influence what is possible or what isn't possible. And that's an interesting consideration. Now here, this is a little trickier. We need to figure out how to match these up. And so, you know what? I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to do the following. I'm just going to go through each word in my word list. I'm just going to yield one possibility just so that I can check all of the structure of the rest of what I've written. Okay. I'm pretty sure if the clue is something related to a popular programming language or an animal you might see in the zoo, and the letters you know are a P and an H-O-N, I'm pretty sure the answer is not soullessness, although, good attempt. Here, maybe we need to make this a little bit more sophisticated. And here we can think there's maybe a couple of options for this. One option is we need to do some sort of matching of these. And we could do this matching with a very exact matching. We could say something like if each character in our word, actually, no, we'll do this. For each character in our word and for each character in our pattern, if they either match or if the character from our pattern is an underscore, well, if all of these are the case, then we can match these up. So that should give us a slightly better approach. And so you can see, what's the problem? Well, our zip is a shortened zip, so you can see it's matching everything that it can match. Well, maybe what we might want to do, I don't think we want to do strict equals true here, because that'll give us exceptions, and we'd have to put it like a try except here, you know. And I guess if we saw a value error, then we would just continue. That's maybe a little bit clumsy. So what we could do is we could do like a zip longest from the iter tools module, or another possibility, and an optimization that we can generally do for all of these is, one thing we could check is, check that the word and the pattern are the same length. And so here, that might be sufficient, and you can see, oh, Python, why didn't I think of that? Here you can see our example of our game of crossword. I think we managed to find a pretty good solver for this. We found all of the possible answers.